Hello everybody, welcome to the sound test room. Today we are taking a pre-release look at Groove Rider 2 from Jim Audio. Right, Groove Rider 2, this is huge. It's huge. It's kind of like GR16 on steroids. It goes way, way beyond that though. Right, okay, so we have 16 layers to play with, okay? So basically 16 tracks. Each of those tracks, so for example, this is part one, each of those tracks can have 3 layers. And if you use a drum rack track, you can have 16 layers. Now, this isn't going to be a complete full deep dive tutorial on Groove Rider 2. I will do this in subsequent videos, and there will be many videos on the channel for GR2. Right, okay, let's get started. First of all, we'll look at, file management. So click on where it says init here. This is where you can load in your projects. These are projects I've been playing with. Then you get some factory projects you can listen to. This is where you set up your tempo for your project, the bar length. Now, this is flexible, okay? You're not limited in bars, especially if you use song mode. It works just like a linear DAW. But you can set up to 16 bars initially. Okay, so let's just set this back to, actually, let's set it to 2 bars. You can apply swing here. You can set your key. You can set your scale. Okay, so for instance, if you wanted to be a minor scale, and this is where you set the chord set. The chord sets are what will happen when you go into chord mode and you press a chord bank. You'll get, but I'll explain this anyway. It's no big deal, right? So we're going to initialize a patch. So we'll just click new and yes, are you sure? And we've got this new patch. And if we look now, we can see that we're going to set this to 2 bars. Sorry, we're going to leave the key on, I'm going to put it on A. So I'm going to put the key on A and I am going to change this to minor, leave it on set 2 for chords. We can come back and change that if we want to, and then just hit save. Okay, and now it'll ask us to name it. So I'm just going to call this video. Okay, so save. And here it is, video pattern saved at the top. Right, so let's go back. Part 1. Okay, so if we go onto trigger, you see we've got part 1, but in all the other parts, they are all empty. So let's select part 2. The first part is part type. What do you want it to be? Melodic or a drum rack? Or a pure acid drums? Well, let's leave it on melodic for now. And then where it says this little plus button here, let's long hold this. And this is where we can choose what we want to add. We can add a synth, a sampler, a wavetable, sound fonts, pure acid bass, add Poison 202, or pure acid drums, or a new drum rack. Okay, so here's the thing, right? If you already own pure acid and Poison, these will be highlighted like they are now. If not, they will be grayed out and you can buy them. So let's just add in a pure acid bass like this, and you'll see you'll get this view. And now, if we go to keys, I can play my pure acid bass. So you get your basic controls for your pure acid, right? But again, you can now long hold on this and we can just add a synth layer on top of this. So now we've got a mixture of both. And this is the synth, the internal built-in synth. And we could go like, say, sync. We can have cross modulation. Okay, so you can build up to 3 layers, right? So let's go to another part. Let's go to maybe part 3, which is empty. Let's stick on a melodic. Let's this time a long hold, and we can add a MIDI effects layer, right? So if you add MIDI effects, you can choose something like Riffer from Audio Modern. Tap it again to load it, and you'll get this screen here. If you want to actually see the full version of Riffer, you just tap on the icon here. Close this down, and you've got it in full screen. And if we went to A minor and generated a sequence, it will generate a sequence for us. And then we can go and load a synth after it. So if you want to use your MIDI generators, your MIDI sequences, your MIDI effects and stuff like that, put that first. Then you click on long hold and click on your instrument. Let's add in a wavetable, for example. Now the wavetable will be empty. So you could go load and import from files if you've got wavetables hanging around, or you go to browse here. Click on browse and look at bank A, which is the factory stuff, yeah? Let's click open on wavetables. And let's load that in now. So load to part 3, layer 2. Let's close this now. And if I press play, Riffer is now playing that layer. And we could slow it down. Okay. So you can set your Riffer up like that. We can look at the visuals and we can say, well, let's have it as an oscilloscope, stereo image, part meters, stuff like that. Go to layer 2. This is where we can edit our wavetable. We can apply LFO. I'm going to go into all this in other videos because I want to get through the basic app. If you see down here, we have 3 like DJ style mixers now, right? And you'll see the output is going to these mixers. If I turn this off and go to master and play, nothing is going to happen. But if I switch them on, now you had one of these in GR16. If you want to change the effect for any of these, you just tap on this little icon here and you could say change this to a flanger, for example. And then if we play, okay. Let's go back to our keys. Let's turn the volume down for the master. Now, when you're layering synthesizers together, so for example, I could put another synth in here. I can mix between those instruments with the mix control or control the overall volume of the part here. This is your insert effects. You have 3 insert effects, okay? You cannot use AUV3s in an insert effect, but we can use any of these that we have here. Okay, you can use AUV3 effects though. I'll show you them in a sec. So in this second one, we could add a flanger. Okay. And then you could add another layer if you wanted to, right? Okay, I'm going to turn the level down for that in case I want to play something else. Right, okay. So let's move on. Let's move on to another part. Let's move on to part 4. This time we'll click on this and we'll go, oh, well, drum rack, right? Yes, this will change the type. So now we've got a drum rack loaded. There's nothing in it. Go to browse, okay? Go back out of wavetables here and go to bank A, which is the factory presets. Now you can make and save your own drum racks as well. Go to drum racks. Let's choose, I don't know, let's choose the synth drum. And you'll get a little preview. Okay, load to part 4. Right, okay. Overwriting layers, and now we've got our drum rack. Okay, and if you load here, you've got a back and a forward control, and you can watch down here. We have 16 completely independent layers here that we can control and play with. Okay, so you can see how that works, right? It's epic. It's huge. You can play the pads as well. As you always could, right? So let's move on to another part, like say, for example, part 5. We can also change the colors of all our parts here. You know, basically whatever you've got, you can select here. You have an arpeggiator. So with this one, I'm going to just add in an AUV3. Okay, so click again. Then you can go down here and choose whichever AUV3s you would like to load. Let's load, say, for example, I don't know. Let me find one that's cool beans. Look, let me load rings effects here. I'm going to load it in. So now we get this little macro thing that we can use, or we can just go in here and control rings as normal. Right. Here's our rings effects, right? Now this is going to work quite well. If we go back to our part layer now and switch ARP on, and I just play a chord, and then you've got different ARP controls. We could have up and down, swing, speed, gate, repeats, and different ARP patterns. Now you've got your groove types as well. So if you've got loads of I'll do another video on this, but this is all like, you had this in GR16, but it applies different kinds of groove to a particular set of patterns. Works well if you've got 16 hi-hats or something. You can apply like a conga groove or a tambourine groove. I'll get into that in another video. Okay, so that's your kind of your arpeggios and stuff like that. You can have them turned off. Okay, and on you go, building instruments up, adding layers and things like that. So that's basically your sounds, right? That's how you choose your sounds. You select your different triggers for your sounds, whatever it is you want to load in there. You can also load in as well sound fonts. Let's go to another one. I'll show you this as well, because this is cool. Being able to use sound fonts. I put in, let's go to number 6 here. Leave it on melodic, it's absolutely fine. I'm going to long hold this and add sound font. Now, there's nothing to, I've got some stuff in here, right? But this is mine, but you can also find this stuff in the browser. So if we go back to Factory Bank, if I go to user now and look at sound fonts, you'll see there are my sound fonts. But if we go to Bank A, sound fonts, ROM Bank 2 will load. This is included in the factory. I can just drop that in, right? And then where it says grand piano, oh, sorry, I'm triggering let me get back to this is my sound font now, right? So I am going to go onto keys. You can go in and choose anything that's included in that sound font pack. When you've chosen a sound, just tap the little plus. Now, if you want to apply an envelope to anything, right, switch to edit. Make sure it's on either ADSR or release an amp. So I'm going to put it on ADSR. And now I can use my envelope. And each layer also has, now these will be independent layers, but each layer also has an LFO. If we switch LFO on here, we can use an LFO. So let's speed this LFO up. Okay, let's add some depth. And let's apply some to the pitch. The filter, which we're not using, but and this might be a good time to look at some of the other effects. So I've gone through loading a sound font. You've seen the sampler. You can load loops in as well. It has time stretch and warp control, so it will fit the BPM or whatever sample you load in. If we go here now, over here, see where it says effects buses. Let's put this in. you see, we've got effects A return, effects B return. Here are our modulation, our kind of mix effects sort of thing. Okay. Then you have 3 master bus effects, but look, effects return A. So this is where you can load in your effects A returns. Let's maybe pick a reverb here. A room. Let's make it a church verb. You've also got a shimmer. I'll put a shimmer on just for fun. So it's got a built-in shimmer. If I now go back to, say, song, you'll see I can send my nice classical guitar thing with a bit of modulation through this shimmer reverb here. Okay, so go back to effects. Then you also have master bus effects. Okay, so if we click on master bus effects, you can see you can use AUV3s there as well, or any of the built-in effects that you've got access to here. Okay, so that's a quick look at how you can manipulate your sounds and stuff, right? If we go to song mode now, no, let's cover clips first. So go to clips. You'll see that we have all these. Let's move it back to this part, or we could go to part 3 or part 6. What's on part 1? Our basic synth. Let's make that synth a little bit more interesting. Let's go to sound. Let's add in I don't know. Let's add in a Poison 202 at the inbuilt version. I'm going to go to my insert here, add a tape delay. Maybe a chorus. Turn the level down. And send a bit of that to our shimmer. Okay, so now we've got 2 layers for part 1. Great. Recording options. Right, okay, so let's go to clips. First of all, let's select the clip. If we go to edit, you'll see that, and I'm trying to do this, no clip is selected for this part. So go to clip, double tap it. And this will relate to our 2 bars here. I'm going to save this. Pattern saved. Always save lots. Okay, so 2 bars. This is our clip. So if I play this now and play it here, it will track round over 2 bars. All right. So if I press record, it's going to start recording, and I can record into that now. So I'll just wait till it comes back around. Okay, stop record. I can now copy the clip and paste it. I'll select the line. And now if I want to, I can record over that. So okay, now where is what part was our drums on? That's our thing. I have a drum pattern. There we go. Right, so I'm going to create a clip. So double tap to create the clip. I'm just going to start off. I'm going to hit record. I'm going to overdub some hi-hats. Okay. You get the idea. Go to your mixer. And you've got your pan controls, your sends. that's clips. So you can build up all these clips as, you know, your full 16 patterns worth, full 16 tracks worth, and then you can do. I mean, you can have this clip play with this clip, for example. You're not limited. You can, you know, it's just like clip selection. This will just select the entire line of clips you've got going on. Okay, let's quickly have a look at songs, right? So this is song mode. Turn it on. Now you can actually, let me get me to my drums and let me get to my keys. I don't think that's my drums, is it? Let me get to my drum layer. There we go. I can now record some drums in. I can set a length of bars here, how many I like, or I can just leave loop turned off and record indefinitely. So if I went to say rings and just recorded something in with me click, I'm just going to record I can go on and on record for as long as I like. Stop. And then there's my thing. And then I could record a shorter part and then duplicate it and multiply it. If you select the clip, you can adjust its length here. You can, of course, pinch and zoom in. You can pick up entire regions, move them around. Selected region, then you can do all this different stuff to it. Like you could say, well, I'll just duplicate that region. You could go, right, well, I don't like that, I'll delete it. You've got undo and redo, obviously, up here. It's huge what you can do. It really is. And like I said, in following tutorials, I'll cover each section in kind of more detail. We can just erase this entire thing by doing that, or part of it, which is very cool. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's awesome. If I look at, say, I'm going to select this one, this Coldstone Harp. I'm going to load it in. This is one of mine. So I'm going to open it up and just give you an idea of the kind of stuff you can do. So if I select this particular clip and I go to edit, you'll see that it says no clip selected, right? So I'll double tap on this one. And now I get into the MIDI editor. The edit, when you select it and edit, it's for the clips. But if you double tap on a MIDI region, then you can go and adjust it here. Now, selecting on any of these, if I select just one, you'll see a load more options appear. This is the probability options that you have. Okay, so you can have them on all, or 1% or 100%. Let's have this on. There we go. So it will just play. Then you've got different options for different ones, like you can change the actual note, you can move it around, you know, the usual stuff. You can make it longer. You've got velocity control. You've got tons of control. You can also use automation. You can use your drawing tool, roller tool, erase, preview, all that normal stuff. And you'll see, look, when we're in this view here, we've got our quantize set to 1/16th. And then you've got your grid layout here. We've got that set to 1/16th as well. You can mute and solo the part. It's huge. Guys, I'm going to leave it there because otherwise we'll start to get, it's going to get much too involved. But I will play this. Let's just come out, go back to song mode. I will play this little piece and then maybe a couple of other bits and pieces just to give you a general idea of what you can do. But I'm sure you'll agree, it's vast, especially when you consider you can layer all this stuff together. If we go to our trigger points here, we can choose different. These are the different sounds that I've used. Okay, I'm going to go onto song mode and I'm going to play this little pattern for you. And then I'll play a couple of other bits and pieces. Here we go. So I haven't got any loops, so it'll just finish. So I had the mix turned down for this particular sound font. Yeah, I think it was a sound font I used. Check. Yeah. Okay, so another one I did was called Clips. I did one called Clips, so I'll open that. And you'll see I used clips for this, and I just built up a couple of loops and things. So you can launch entire scenes, you know. It's great. It does what you'd expect it to do. Okay, let's see, what else did I do? It's any good. Not sure. Let me just see. Because I spent most of my time just playing. No, that one's rubbish. Well, it's just, all it is. And then I added some extra drums in here. And what's this one? TSTR1 open. And I did a few clips, but I mainly made a song. Right, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm going to let this play through. I'm going to turn loop off. So otherwise, it'll just loop this end bit. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, strike the like, subscribe to the channel, consider becoming a patron, all that other cooler stuff. I'm sure most of you are a lot of you are very excited about us getting actually I will turn loop on in case I want to show you around others while it's playing, but I'm sure you're very excited. It can do tons of stuff, more stuff than I could possibly show you in one video. So that's why there'll be lots more videos covering various bits and pieces. Anyway, top job. I will see you later. Ta-da.